Hey everyone, thanks for coming back to the channel. I've got a new project I'm working on, and this one's super exciting because it's mine. So I wanted a bike. I've got an amazing race bike. I absolutely love everything about it. It's the Cannondale System 6, high modulus. It's wicked, but sometimes it's too much, if I'm perfectly honest. Sometimes on Sundays, Sarah and I like to ride to the city, go have brunch. It's 20 miles there, have a latte, and then ride home. And we're not in any particular hurry. And riding an aero bike with 80 millimeter carbon wheels on not great city streets is honestly not that fun. So I love road bikes. And I'm getting a little older. I'm keeping that bike. I do still race it, but I wanted something that's just a little nicer. So here it is. The Cervelo Caledonia 5. I want to give a quick shout out to the friends over at Cervelo. They hooked me up with a really good deal on this frame. We're a Cervelo dealer, and I just couldn't turn down the offer. And I went for the Caledonia 5. Now, the 5 series in Cervelo's lineup usually gives you a couple of extra spoofs. Sorry, not spoofs. A couple of extra spiffs. And on the Caledonia, that means that we get the pocketed head tube so that the cables can run internally, real clean. You get the integrated handlebar stem that runs the cables through the stem into the pocketed head tube. And it's going to give it that super seamless look. It's also a little bit lighter and just a little more premium. Now the basic Caledonia is amazing. I would love to have it. But the 5 is the nice one, so I got that one. So I'm going to put a SRAM red kit on it and a couple extra little bells and whistles on it. So without further ado, I'm going to film this over the course of a few nights because all my parts aren't here yet. So let's get started. Okay, when it comes to setting the brakes up on an internally routed bike, this is something that we do here in the shop pretty often. We'll go ahead and route the lines through the frame, foam insulate them, bring them up through the head tube, through the stem, through the bars, but we don't connect them yet. And the reason for that is because what we want to do is we want to complete the build as much as possible minus the brakes. And then if it's a customer, we'll bring them in. Since it's my bike, I'll simply just take it home. But when I get ready to get the drivetrain on and I get it home, now I can play with the headset spacers and whether or not I want the stem up or down. I'm going to run this one down. And I can change the lever on the handlebars. And if I need to change my stem length, now's the time. If I go ahead and run the hoses and bleed them, and then learn later that, I should have gotten a longer stem, now I've got to pull those hoses back through and start over and re-bleed. So this is how we build bikes here. Sometimes it requires an extra trip to the shop, but most people don't mind once they actually go through it. This is how I like to do my bike, and that's the way that you get the cleanest, proest looking build, because then you've got exactly the headset stack height that you want, with the hoods exactly where you want them, and you get to geek out on those details. So on the brakes, I'm going to stop here for now. I've plugged the lines. Just a little quick tip here. If you are going to do this, you can take a spoke and then just sharpen the end on a grinder or whatever you've got, and then it'll slide right up in that brake hose, and it's nice and firm so it doesn't leak. And then these little things come with SRAM shifters sometimes, so those are just plugs for the ports back there. That way I don't get anything in the house or in my car. So that's it for the brakes. We'll come back to that later. Well, my good buddies over at Ceramic Speed hooked me up with a sweet deal on these 3D printed titanium oversized pulleys. We're big believers in Ceramic Speed product over here, but I've never had the 3D printed tie ones. I'm pretty excited about it. They're gorgeous. They're almost invisible when you look at them. And I know that some people will read and argue that oversized pulley wheels aren't worth it, but there's one thing that's undeniable, especially when we're talking about Ceramic Speed bearings. They are absolutely ridiculously smooth. And if you look at a stock, this is a brand new SRAM Red derailleur, and there's just, they're not bad, don't get me wrong, but they definitely have more friction than the Ceramic Speed product does. So now you can read about oversized pulley wheels and how it decreases the radius of the chain and decreases friction. But one, they're beautiful. Two, the bearings are just ridiculously smooth. So we use them, we stand behind them, and I'm going to convert this derailleur to an oversized pulley wheel system using their absolutely gorgeous 3D printed tie pulleys. Here we go. When it comes to bottom brackets I'm putting in my own personal bike, there's literally only one I choose, and I've literally installed every brand of bottom bracket in the US market. By far, Ceramic Speed is the way to go. You can get it two ways. You can get it with the lifetime warranty or with the 4-year. I've got both. They're both excellent. But I plan on keeping this bike for a while, so I'm going to go with the lifetime on this one. All right, I'm about to slide my crankset through, and I'm just using my old SRAM Force cranks on this one because I'm upgrading my race bike to a shorter arm following that trend. But while I had it out, I took the time to go ahead, and if y'all don't know about the Cane Creek preloaders, this takes place of the SRAM plastic preloader. And for those of you that race bikes, you probably need this and didn't know it, or maybe you do know. But if you put down any amount of power at all on that nylon preloader that comes stock with SRAM cranks, it'll jump threads and then create play side to side. So if you're running a SRAM drivetrain and had front shifting issues that you just can't figure out, that's probably it. Because when it jumps threads, the crankset will shift inside the frame left and right. So Cane Creek, knowing this, produces their own adjustable aluminum lock ring collar, and what you do is you super glue or some type of chemically bond the aluminum ring to the crank arm, and then this threads down onto it. So, and then it's got a nice steel bolt that goes through the aluminum lock ring so it can't jump threads. So if you haven't done this on your SRAM cranks, I highly recommend. Ceramic Speed for the win. Okay, so now we move to the front derailleur. We've got our crankset in, we know that the chain line is correct, and we want to then set up the front derailleur. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we get the height correct. We've got our guide plate in place, and we're going to line everything up with this hidden secret mark on the back side, and then we want to off camber tilt it ever so slightly because they've designed a custom bend to it to make sure that it's going to rub and throw the chain in every situation possible. So once we have all that set, then we make sure to take our Allen wrench and do nothing with it and take our front derailleur and put it right in the trash, which is where they belong. Much better. When it came time to pick wheels for a bike like this, you know I had to go classic. For anyone that doesn't know about Velocity, you should check them out. They're out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, and what they will do, now they specialize in aluminum, so these are not carbon wheels. This is the Velocity aileron rim, Sapum spokes with their Pro hub. What's cool about Velocity is you can get a hold of them and you can say, hey, I want the A23 or the Deep V or the aileron or the Quill. They have tons of different rims to pick from. You can get them in disc or non-disc, black, silver, or like these, high polish. They'll also anodize you rims in gold, green, blue, pink, whatever, for an extra charge as well. And you can select what free hub body you want, and then what they do is they literally build them for you and ship them to you. Now, I like to build wheels, so you know, it's a little bit of a buzzkill for me because I didn't get to build my own wheels this time, but to be honest, for the price they charge, they don't really charge you that much to build them, so I said, heck, just send them. But I had to go classic, and so I went with high polished silver, butted spokes, polished hubs, and brass nipples, because this is a bike that, of course, I'm going to plan on riding lots of miles on. Now, when it came to tires, had to go with the 30mm Corsa Pro. This is their newest tire. Rides like a dream. I raced on it all this season. They're absolutely incredible. This is not the tire you want if you want something that's cut resistant, but if you're looking for a super high quality ride that's ultra smooth, that's your tire. And for tubes, I went with the Vittoria tube. Normally on my race bike I would run latex tubes, but this is my training bike, my all the time bike, so I didn't want to be airing my tires up if I went for a ride on Tuesday and woke up early Wednesday. I wanted to, you know, with butyl tubes, you can check them every few days because they hold air pressure really well. They're not as fast as latex. So classic, 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 and hopefully this will complete the look I'm looking for. Like always, when doing a pro bike build, you want to line that hot patch up with your valve stem, and I'm going to line up my R on both wheels so that way it looks nice and uniform, looks super pro. Sometimes people wonder why we do that. It's kind of just a historic thing, but also when you're late for a ride in the morning and you do need to check your tire pressure, you can look straight to that hot patch and you know right where to go with that air pump, so it's nice and fast. As always, throw those away, keep them for spacers. They do not go on wheels. Always make your tube round. Okay, took the bike home, checked the fit, got the bars where I want, the hoods where I want, the saddle where I want. I just got to level these out now, and to do that we want a level surface, and I want the higher height. I think the left one's higher, so as we check, that's what I'm seeing here. So I need to bring the right hood up about probably 3 to 4 millimeters, so I'll do that now. Okay, I've got my cockpit set, stack height set, so now I can cut off the remainder of the steer tube. To do that, I'm going to measure down to the top of the stem, coming in right at almost exactly 50 millimeters, and then I want to take a second measurement and measure to the top of the first stem bolt. And we're going to be coming in right at about 56.5 millimeters. Now what we want to do when we cut a steer tube is we want to get as much purchase on this stem as possible. That way we don't clamp the top of the carbon steer tube and crush that carbon. We also have to keep in mind that we're going to be putting a compression plug in, and there will be a lip on that, so I'll take a measurement on that and account for that as well. So if you're not comfortable doing this type of thing at home, I definitely recommend you take it to your shop for this.